Hey everyone, my name is Georgette Truen. I am the co-host for Fight CPS with Miss G, and I have my guest today. Her name is Jeannie. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my dear.
Hi, my name is Jenny.
Jenny is going to discuss her trials with CPS currently, and we're going to share her story. And then, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them on the comments. And go ahead, Jeannie. Go ahead, let us know about what's going on in your world with CPS.
In my world, well, my case was 4 years ago, but once CPS puts certain things out there in the family court and all that, they won't listen to you. But anyhow, so they came and they took my children about 4 years ago,
Mhm.
and they placed them in the care of their dad. And my concern, they like to make up a lot of things. I mean, they had on there that I was a drug addict and test that I had, um, had marijuana and methamphetamine and other drugs in my system, despite the fact that I've been actually testing clean for, well, everything since about 2012, including hair follicle tests. So they try to lie about that.
Mhm.
Um, Anyhow, so they placed them in the care of their father, despite the fact that in 2014, CPS wrote an article that said, that if our two children happen to be placed in the care of their father, the department feels that they are in danger of physical abuse and sexual abuse. And this was based on our history and his history. He also has had restraining order against my other two oldest boys. He had restraining orders from them due to child abuse and was convicted for battery of my eldest son. So despite all of that, they still place him in his custody.
Wow.
I will tell you this, the first 8 months, it took 8 months for the case to close. My children, on almost every visit while I was on supervision, told them, Daddy's scaring us with monsters. Daddy's threatening to send us to the trolls that live in the mountains that turn children into little wooden dolls. My family has heard this. The workers heard this for 8 months. And I sat down with them and I said, this is not okay. This is a tactic he is using to scare my children. I've already told you.
Mhm.
And I left him. For sexual abuse of my children that they had come to me. And they told me, oh no, it's just a parenting issue. He just needs parenting classes. It'll be fine. I
Wow.
said, the
Wow.
tactic that
Wow.
he's using.
Oh my God. Okay, go on.
Yes.
Go on. Go on.
So,
Those
yeah.
assholes. Oh,
Now
they're
this was
so
okay.
demonic.
This
Crazy. They're freaking
it
crazy. Go on,
it
Jeannie.
is. Yeah. Now this was in 2017. The prior report where they were, worried about the dad if the kids were in his custody was in
Mhm.
2014, 3 years before. Okay. Now, let me just go back a little bit more. My first two boys were removed from me
Mhm.
in 2014, and the department stated because there was a lot of domestic violence. They said because I couldn't leave him and I didn't understand the dangers of having my young children around this man. Fast forward in 2014. Now I left him, like I said, I went to the police, I went to CPS, and I made reports. I think I have reported him for sexual abuse 3 different times. But like I said, he was convicted of battery to my oldest son. So they still gave custody of my children, and it's been 4 years. And since then, I have reported, my daughter reported to me and my grandma and I, that daddy grabbed her brother by the arm really hard and slammed him to the ground on his back. So I reported the bruise, all of that. Um, she's made a lot of disclosures, into just things are happening, but they just ignore me. So now because of CPS, Once they take your kids and they lie about you and you're the bad parent, like family courts won't listen to me at all. It
What?
doesn't matter what they say anymore about dad.
Mhm.
And despite the fact CPS actually, in their own words, have said the same things that I'm telling them. So it doesn't make sense to me.
Oh my God. I speak of your story almost every show I have. Um, that's the story of a lot of mothers. Most of the mothers I speak with, they are retaliated by, CPS retaliates against mothers the most. They usually, oftentimes, they give the kids to the abusive party. I say this all the time. It's usually the abusive dad, 100%. When the father is abusive to the children, that's who the kids go to. And CPS sides with the fathers. And I kid you not, this is the God honest truth. This is so real that it blows my mind. But if you did that to your son, we're grabbing his arm, slamming him on the floor, right? And there's a bruise, they're not going to hesitate to charge you immediately, right?
Right.
They're not going to hesitate to do that. But mothers are guilty even when they report to the police domestic violence. The report goes under the mother's name. Guess what? The mother is the guilty party. She failed to protect because she called the police for help. If the mother doesn't call the police for help, then they're going to say she failed to protect the kids because she didn't call the police for help. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's kind of,
Yeah,
you're guilty whether you do it or not. You're guilty. And the kids are the ones suffering. And the kids will speak up. Will speak up. There's a case I want you to know, Jeannie. It's a very old case. The father is a firefighter, right? He married a district attorney. He was involved with the district attorney when the mother was pregnant. And well, she was married to him still. And that district attorney became a judge during the whole entire case, right? So the kids later on, after they removed the kids from their mom, the kids later on at school, right, they disclose that they're being abused by the father, mentally and physically, by both of them. And DCFS got involved. And guess what? Because his wife is a judge and he's a firefighter, they said, "Oh, we don't believe the children."
wow.
And even the children told the teacher, "Do not tell our dad because we don't want to get punished." Like they
Right.
were crying. They wanted like a safe person to trust. But then when the teacher reported it, CPS said it's unfounded. They don't believe the child, the children. That report came from two different teachers.
That's wow.
Now do you understand? So the father is the abuser, right? They still don't want to listen to the children, and they're keeping the children silent. And
Right.
they side with the dad and not with the mom, who did nothing to the children, who actually protected the children. So that's just
Right.
how CPS operates. That's exactly how they operate. They will deem you guilty, not until proven innocent, right?
No.
Or you're
Right.
not even
Yes.
innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until proven more guilty, right? That's exactly what they do, which is against our constitutional rights. I mean, they violate our rights every single day.
Oh yeah.
And they've set rules in place to violate our rights. That's exactly what CPS does. And then, and family court, when the mother, right, of those kids went to family court, not one judge wants to change the order of 11
Right.
years or 10 years. Not one judge. Because they look at you like you are, um, like, like you're a prostitute. Like literally. They treat you like you're a criminal, a complete criminal. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
they don't even, that's why I call judges black robe fevers, because judges are attorneys wearing black robes. Judges are attorneys
Yes.
wearing black robes. So those idiots, right? They're stupid because they see the truth. They see the truth on paper, evidence, fact. They hear the truth, but they still believe a lie. And that's why I call them stupid, because that is the definition of stupid. And when they give that much power to a social worker, there's something wrong with them. Something is definitely wrong with them. If they give that much power to a social worker, a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old, it's so sad. It's so
Mm-hmm.
sad that social workers are fresh out of high school
Mm.
and they're kind of dingy. They still live with mommy and daddy. You know what I mean? And they're making decisions on somebody's lives and kids. And they still live home with mommy and daddy. That is so disgusting to me, that you put people's lives in the hand of an idiot who just barely grew up, and she thinks she's something, and she's nothing. She's literally nothing. Social workers are useless. To put a mother in that situation, to put children in that situation, all of because of funding's sake. It's all about funding. That's all it
Mhm.
is. Funding is very important.
Yeah,
So,
I think too that before, when I left dad, I mean, we made okay money, but he ended up marrying a dentist and they have a lot of money. So when they looked at everything, he had beautiful cars, beautiful home, because he went to jail while my children were in his custody. And he's been going in and out of jail and prison since about 2002.
mhm,
And so in 2000 and what 18, so a year after he had the kids, and so of course I did an emergency hearing,
mhm.
and and so I went to mediation. The mediator looked right at me and she said, "Well, how does this negatively affect your children? It's a white collar crime." So he scammed two elderly people out of money, right? And they just happened to be actually, I think they were like ex-lawyers or something like that. So he scammed the wrong elderly people. But anyhow, but he lied to them and stole from them, and so they're asking me, well, how does this negatively impact your children? And I'm like, how does it not? He went to jail for certain reasons that it's not good. We don't want to teach our kids it's okay to lie, cheat, and steal. So, but even that, coupled with his many convictions for domestic violence, battery to a minor, going to jail while they're in his custody, and still nothing has moved. Nothing
Yeah,
has changed.
and you know what's so sad, Jeannie? They always say the mom married him or the mom got involved with him. The mom had kids with him. So you make your bed, you lie in it, or some crap like that. And I look at people when they say something like that. I'm like, when you marry a narcissist or when you have a child with a malignant narcissist, for example, you don't know who you're involved with, because they mask themselves very good, and
Right.
you really don't know. People say, "Oh, they should know." No, you don't know. You really don't know unless the mask comes off and then you see their true identity. And once you see
Right.
their true identity, it's usually too late. It's usually too late, because when they target a victim, they target a victim, a certain type of victim, right? They target victims to have children with. They target victims that they have money with. I mean, they have money, they have a name, they have a title. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
that fireman that I was telling you about, he married an ordinary great mom, right? And then he
yeah.
cheated with a district attorney who became a judge. Why is that? Because during the marriage, he knew he wanted out. So who is going to help him? A district attorney, right? Because of the domestic violence. She helped him. She enabled him. She became a
Hmm.
judge. She enabled him more. Get it? So
Right.
that's who they stay with, because they know that a person with a name and a title, they're going to enable them, meaning they're going to protect them. Well, the children are suffering a lot more. Your situation, he married a dentist, right?
Yes.
Yeah. She has a title, she has money, right?
Hmm.
There you go. CPS is not looking at the domestic violence and the abuse for the children. They're looking at money.
That, yeah. I kind
Yeah.
of figure that too,
Yeah.
because It was, yeah, before that, when he was just still living, like, well, he lived with his mom and his brothers and all of that,
Mhm.
because like when I left, we still lived with his brothers. I mean, him and I really were the ones kind of taking care of the family, but
Mhm.
um, he didn't have a lot. It's not like he had fancy cars and fancy homes, just kind of regular, like, and so it was a little bit easier during that time, but it's just funny how now big houses, big cars, all the money, and now all of a sudden he's a different person. I'm like, I mean, to me, that's what it seems like. Like they're just, and my mom says that to me a lot anyway, that they're looking at the money too. But,
Yep,
and the
they
fact
are.
that he's got all these things, married a dentist. And so, oh, you must be a good person. And it's like, well,
The
yeah, my
dentist
thing
is a
is,
victim too, Jenny. The dentist, the lady he got involved with, she's a victim too.
oh, I
She's a
agree. Yeah, I feel bad for her. I pray for her all the time, 100%. Because,
yep.
and I've talked to her actually, and I've told her, like, there's children that are in your family. I worry every day about my kids, all the kids that he's allowed to be around. I've witnessed things from this man like you wouldn't even imagine. And
I do.
it just
Believe me.
seems, yeah. um, I just never would have thought this. And it's like you said, the CPS worker comes in, and it's like everything that happened in their old reports, everything they wrote from their own mouth. They said children are in danger if placed in the care of this person. This is their own reports.
I
I have a
know.
video. Yeah. So I just, but see, what happens is 3 years later, this woman, she didn't work for that particular CPS office 3 years prior. She was nowhere around when that, do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
all of a sudden, this new fresh worker comes along and she just gets this hair up her butt. And, you know, yeah, just no life experience, just education, which I think a good social worker, you need to have the experience. You have to have experienced these types of people, to me, not just the background and education, to
Right.
really make informed decisions and know what you're doing.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, so she just comes in and sees this person now who has learned how to lie to the world and manipulate because he is a narcissist and just
Yeah.
totally falls for it. It's like, but here's what
But
I
you
don't
know what's
understand. How are they allowed to ignore all of their reports that even they said he's a danger to children, both physically and sexual abuse? Like, how are they allowed to ignore that?
but you know what's so sad? Social workers, honestly, to me, I thought about it last night. I was talking to a very good friend of mine last night, and I was telling her that I'm exhausted from every pain I hear from a mom. I'm mentally exhausted. I'm not blaming the women. I am not blaming anyone. I'm just kind of in a position where I I want to help everyone I speak with, right?
Yeah,
And honestly, I always dream that I became a billionaire. You know what I mean? Just to
yeah,
start something, like kind of help every mother that I speak with. Like literally, I wish to God I was a not even a billionaire, a trillionaire. And my
hmm,
mission would be helping women to get their kids back. Because oftentimes when we call attorneys, right? Because what they do, they slam us with a court pretender. The court pretender is supposed to be titled court appointed attorneys, but those idiots are so stupid. I swear on the Holy Bible, I don't know how they became attorneys because they're so dumb. They stand in court and they're like, uh huh, okay, all right, Your Honor. Kind of like, what the are you doing? You have evidence, you're not submitting. You have facts, you're not talking about. And you're telling the client, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. What's your
yeah,
purpose? What the F is your purpose in court? But what they do is like they assign you a free attorney, right? because free is
Yes.
good. If I go to Costco and they're offering free samples, right? I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
take the free samples, right?
Right.
So, the same thing with attorneys. They offer a person a free attorney. Why? Because they don't want them to win. They don't want them to
Right.
win. The attorney works with the county and the state. They don't work with the client because had they worked for the client, right? They don't get paid for the client. So who are they going to help? County, state.
Right.
The children attorney, they're scumbags. They're little kids themselves. They don't know anything about parenting. They don't know shit, and they side with the dad, the abusive party. Why? Oh, he's either handsome or, narcissistic people carry themselves, they're, charmers. You know what I mean? So kind
Yep.
of like they're so
Oh yeah.
dumb. They're so involved with, oh, he's handsome. Oh, he's
Yep.
this. Oh my God, did you see him? I literally heard a social, the children attorney in court saying, "Oh my God, he's so handsome. Did you see him?" To another, to the same attorney for the children, and they were
Oh
both talking
no.
about the father, who is the freaking abuser.
Wow.
So
I don't.
I,
Yeah.
people
I don't
are
think
so
child abuse is
dumb.
handsome. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they're so stupid. All these people are so stupid in my book. I mean, honest to God, they're useless. They're just useless. Then when people call attorneys, right? They call attorneys for advice or hire an attorney. They say it's too expensive, right? But the problem is, Mr. Davis always says hire a juvenile dependency attorney. So what do parents do? Mothers do? They Some mothers hire family law attorneys, and family
Right.
law attorneys is not going to help them if they don't know anything about juvenile dependency cases. They've never handled juvenile dependency laws.
Mm-hmm.
They can't help them. Like in our office, we have juvenile attorneys, we have family law attorneys, we have criminal attorneys. You know what I mean? Kind of like people
Right.
who
Yes.
specialize in a certain area of law. And when it comes to juvenile, it's very complex because you're dealing with social workers who are pathological liars. All of them, all of them,
Yeah.
all of them are pathological liars. And you're dealing with court pretenders who pretend to be attorneys, right? And you're dealing with the children attorneys. You're dealing with the guardian ad litem. You're dealing with a judge who is stupid wearing black robe sitting on a damn chair. So all of this, people don't take an accountability. Like they don't see it. They don't see how complex it is. Because the attorney would have to review the case. The attorney would have to subpoena the record. The attorney would have to do a lot of work, legwork, right? To see
Yes. Oh yeah.
what the social worker's done on the client's case. Because what you're telling me is completely different than what is written down,
Oh yeah.
right?
It's
So people don't
crazy.
understand. Yeah. They think the attorney is going to go to court and say, my client is innocent, everything is going to be okay. No, it doesn't work out that way. You have to come up with strategy in order to win a case. Same thing
Oh yeah.
when you're dealing with demons, right? You can't fight them with fist fighting, right? If you're Christian, you'll know what I'm talking about. You have to,
Yes.
you what? You stop the firing dart by prayers, right? Fasting and prayers and faith. So
Yes.
that you have to understand the same thing happens in the demon world, which is CPS. I call it demonic because they operate exactly like demons. No joke. They are demonic. When you laugh at a mother's face when she's crying over a child being removed, you have to be demonic to do that. You cannot be
Absolutely.
normal. Okay. So if a normal person is at the market, here's a child crying, and I'm guilty of that, I literally cry inside. I cannot handle the children crying. It's like I want to do everything possible to see why they're crying, comfort them. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So it kills
Yeah.
me inside. But when a social worker laughs at a mother's pain and a child's pain, there's something wrong with them. They cannot be human. Being human, that means you feel, you have feelings, you have emotions, right?
Right.
If they feel nothing, they're not human. Same thing with your case. They don't see that the children are being abused. Why? Because
The,
they're looking at a title, not the well-being
right.
of the children, not what's best interest for the children. The children need to be with their mother. Period. I'm not saying that fathers should be eliminated, but the children needs to be with their mother. Okay, look at what Carissa said. She said, I
Yes.
truthfully don't think that the courts check out the parents enough. I know of a parent right now that's a mother that's bipolar. And his friends with a foster, and maybe she meant to say, and is friends with the foster mom. And the mother isn't supposed to be seeing the foster mom. And they're hanging out together with a child, and the abuser is the mother. And they're together all the time. Explain to me why no one knows about this. Where is the CPS caseworker now? The child is with the abuser. Mm. Carissa, I take it you're the grandmother of the child. I think I know who you are. Social workers are not really, how can I say it? They don't check for abuse when the children are transferred to the foster parent. There's a lot of
That
cases kids die in a foster home, and there was like 11 reports made by a mother, and they call the mother the crazy one. Okay, um, there's a lot of there's a lot of questions why they don't do their job, but they don't do their job because they're stupid, and like I said, they're useless. That's why it's very important to have evidence that the mother is there with the child, that supposedly she's not supposed to be around the child, but yet she's there with the foster mother and the child. You need hardcore evidence to prove that is in fact true. That's very important.
right. Yeah, I think children should just be with the non-abusive parent, period. For me personally, like I just mom or dad, whoever the non-abusive parent is, that's where the kids should be, you know? And if there's just clear-cut evidence that one parent is an abuser and has harmed a child, they should never get custody, in my opinion. Never. You're convicted already.
No,
You battered one child. You have all these convictions. I don't think that that parent should ever get
you know
custody or
what's
be
so
allowed.
sad?
You know what? A year after he got custody, okay,
Right. But you know what's so sad, Jeannie, that you
what's
say
that?
that being convicted and everything.
Oh,
The firefighter I was telling you about, the story, he actually has arson and theft in his record, and he became a firefighter because his mother, the
hmm.
attorney, had relationship with the hiring rank at the fire department in the 90s.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and he has arson and theft. Arson
Yeah,
and
arson. That should be like
theft.
immediately.
Yeah, and he drinks while he drinks alcohol while driving. Yeah.
Oh no.
And even
On the
his
job?
kids, yeah, even his kids reported it, and the judge didn't care. Yeah. So what I'm
Well,
trying
because
to
he's
tell
drunk.
you, yeah, what I'm trying to tell you is not who you are, it's who you know, it's who you know, and who you have connection with. So a lot of people think all firefighters are heroes. No, baby girls, they're not. They're players, and what they do is the reason they want to be firefighters is to just to have the women. And that's what they say. Most of them say that. There are great firefighters. There are, but not
Absolutely.
all. Same thing with cops. There's great cops, but not all of them. Now, however, there's not one good person as a social worker in anywhere in the United States. Not one. That one, that's I know that for sure. Court pretenders, social workers, and judges. Not one. Not one is good. Not
Wow.
one. Maybe the federal side. Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it gets a little better there, huh? I know
Maybe. Yeah.
For some reason, I was still on supervision a year after. I don't remember the exact. They just really didn't want to take me off supervision, but they closed my CPS case with me still on supervised visits because I continued to push and tell them, like, hey, these things are happening. Like I was like, you pay attention to this. Listen to my kids. This is happening, and so they kept me on supervision because of that.
Right.
Well, the monitor that I had, I think my son was 6 because he was 5, so he's 6. In front of a monitor, he goes, Mom, I want to go play out on the freeway. I said, well, that's very dangerous. You can't do that. Why do you want to do that? Because I just feel sad and I want to just die.
Ah.
This was a year after he was dead.
Yep.
This
Yep.
was reported. I told her, this is going to be written. I have it. It's written down. It's at my house in my paperwork. She wrote it down. These are the mother's concerns. Right. And I had a really good, like, she wrote me a really good report, the supervision report. So, of course, I'm like, okay, we have a court date, turn in the supervision report. I want to get off supervision. The mediator calls her just to find out about that, like what happened. She said, oh, he was watching some video because we were driving in the car. He wasn't watching a video. He wasn't on the phone at all. And she goes, and something that he saw on there made him feel sad. And I'm thinking, like, that's
Oh
not
my
true.
God. Oh my
Number
God.
2, she said that, I don't know, there was some concerns she had as far as the visitation and certain things I would say or something. So, after I got that media report, I called her right away. And actually, I did a meeting and, to meet with her because I was like, I want to know why what you wrote me, the report you gave me was good, glowing report, complete opposite of what you told the mediator. That doesn't make sense. And I want to know, like, I was totally blindsided by that. Completely.
Right.
I don't know what she said, oh, because it was a couple months later. And during those couple months, some of the things that I said concerned her because all of a sudden I changed so much in those couple months. I don't know. You know what I mean? It was just some excuse. But my biggest thing is that my son has
But
expressed feeling sad and wanting to hurt himself.
But she made up a story
What's that?
as why the child. She made up a story as why the child said what he said. It's not
Right.
true.
Why are you ignoring my
Not
son?
true.
He's sad. He
Right.
wants to die. He's 6 years old.
Yeah. All kids, when they leave the mom, something happens to their psyche. I'm not kidding you. Something happens to their psyche. And it's very important to be around the mother. Very important. Now, I'm not saying a mother who's on the street, injecting herself with cocaine every day. I'm not saying that type of mom. I'm saying being with their mother who's a good mom. I'm talking about the good moms that give all they got for their kids, who are hands-on mom, who actually love their children. But what it is, what CPS does, is they take the heart of a mother, they give it to the abuser, right? And the children are lost. They don't have a voice. The children don't have a voice. No matter what the child does at night to cry for mommy, want to be with
Nope.
mommy, want to be with mommy, nobody's listening to the child. So what does the child say? It's not worth living. I mean, this life is not fair because I want a mommy to hug me. I want mommy to comfort me. But where is mommy? And the dads, they give them what? Another woman
Right.
to replace mommy? Nobody can replace mommy.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Nobody can replace your own mother. The other woman, what is she going to do? Buy them things or might buy them things. But she will
Oh, they
never
do.
love them the way their mother loved them, ever.
Nope.
Yeah, and they coach the children to hate you. And the father would say,
Yeah.
don't love your mommy. And the stepmom will say, don't love your mommy. You can't cry over mommy. If you cry over mommy, blah, blah, blah. It's just endless. It's endless. So the children learn to be silent. And they hold it inside them, right? They hold it inside the children hold it inside them, and they're afraid to talk about it anymore.
Oh, absolutely. That,
Yeah.
you know what? Now that came up, that's another thing that happened. He actually made videos in the very beginning and sent them to me.
Uh-huh.
And you can clearly, I don't have those videos. I'd saved them somewhere, but when I went to go get them, they were gone, like they'd gotten deleted somehow. But you could hear him. He was coaching the kids saying, "Oh, mommy's telling you to say that daddy does things." Now, I have never in my life, my children came to me, which is why I left him. But anyhow, you could clearly hear him whispering to our daughter certain words to say when she would forget. And at the end of the video, he goes, "Good job, high five," and all of this. Well, of course, I brought this to CPS because this was during the case, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I mean, that's part of the other reason they just kept me on supervision. But gosh, what did they tell? They just didn't care. They just told him to not videotape the kids or do that because it could look like he's coaching them. It didn't matter what the context was in the videos, you know?
This is I'm gonna actually read something to you. I should have read it today, but I didn't even think about it. But this is something that one of the people that ladies that follow my show, she actually shared it with me, and I honestly, when I read it, I just a part of me didn't. It's like I was reading it and I couldn't believe it at the same time, right? So this is from the
Mm,
California Legislative Information, right? This is what it says. I want you to
mm.
listen to it, Jeannie. You know how social workers say you cannot record me, you cannot da 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 da, right?
Yeah,
Well, a
yeah,
parent, a parent in subdivision a parent or a legal guardian may make a video or audio recording of his or her interview or interaction with a county child protective service social worker who is investigating allegation of parental abuse or neglect, right? It says a county
yes,
child protective service social worker participation in an investigation or parental abuse or neglect shall be deemed, remember, deemed consent to video or audio recording pursuant to subdivision A. Also, a county child protective services social worker assigned to a role performing duties that includes assuming the custody of a child or conducting interviews of a child or his or her parent in order to investigate allegations of parental abuse or neglect shall provide notification to a parent or a legal guardian undergoing investigation of parental abuse or neglect in writing that the parent or legal guardian may make a video or audio recording of his or her interview or interaction with a county child protective services social worker. Now, a lot of social workers say, don't do it. I'm not going to consent to it, blah, 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 blah. But the day they signed, right, the day they walked the steps of being a social worker, that's the day they consented to that. They don't
wow.
want to be caught, right? Look, a criminal never wants to get caught.
Of course not.
A criminal never wants to get caught. That's why it's very important. I was talking to one of the people that follow my shows as well about this. It's very important to hire an attorney. And I was explaining why, because the first initial investigation of a case is very important to have an attorney. A lot of people think that the investigation part is not that important, right? Because they're good parents. They're great parents. Everything's going to be great.
That was
The
me.
social worker is going to say, good parent, the case is closed. Goodbye, Mr. So and so. Goodbye, Mrs. So and so, right? It doesn't work.
Hmm.
Having an attorney in your initial is cheaper, first of all, than
Yes.
waiting until they remove the children. Once you
Mm.
talk to the social worker and they remove the children, you already set yourself up to fail. You open Pandora's box and you can't close Pandora's box. That's
That's
why
true.
it's very important to hire an attorney before your mouth is open to a social worker.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that.
We don't. Not at the beginning. I understand a lot more now than I ever did. Like if I knew then what I know now, a lot of things would have been different. It's like as we talk, there's so many things that keep coming up that I remember that they ignored for 8 months. I
Uh-huh.
know that my children constantly would say, Daddy's telling us not to tell secrets. Don't tell
Right.
secrets. Don't tell secrets. So of course
Right.
I brought that to, you know how you get one social worker after another and then a different one ends the case. So one of the social workers involved, I brought this to her attention. My children actually came with me and she asked my son directly, who's telling you to keep secrets from me and your mom? And he says, Daddy. Okay, and so we're talking. Well, at the end of it, I said, I turned around to her as we're leaving and I said, I want to make sure and I want it to be very clear that you and I are on the same page, that you heard my son say, Daddy is telling him to keep secrets. And she's like, she looked right at me and said, I never heard that. I was blown away. So she asked him again. He said, Daddy. She asked him again. And he said, well, I don't know. Like, he's like 7, I think, by this time, about 6.5. So it's a year and a half after living with dad at this point. Or no, wait. No, he's 6 because we're still in CPS. Okay, so it's about a year after living with dad. Anyway, I'm thinking he's kind of confused. Why is this woman asking me? I've already answered her. Maybe I'm giving, a child at that age is probably thinking, well, maybe I'm giving her the wrong answer. So the third time he says, well, I don't know. And then, so she asked him again, and then he gives his stepmother's name. And I'm like, no. And I said, she goes, see, his answers weren't consistent and they have to be consistent. And I'm thinking, I said, no, they were consistent. He told you dad the first 3 times. I wrote it all down. Like, see, now I wish that I would have recorded everything. If I had recorded everything that has happened from day one that my children have said in front of these people, I would not be where I'm at today and my kids would not be with their abuser. I know that for a fact. In fact, somebody just recently called CPS, which dad thought it was me. It was not me. Why would I call? I told him, why would I do that? Like, why would I call? I'm done. I already tried police report, CPS, family court. Like, there's no reason for me to call CPS. They're not going to do anything at this point. So anyhow, I told the lady and I said, look, I'll talk to you, but I'm recording this and I will not do it without either a lawyer present or unless I'm able to record it. And she refused to talk to me. She'd already spoke with my children. She already went out to dad's house and spoke with my children. Refused to talk to me because I wanted to record.
But the children at the abuser's home,
Yeah,
they're scared.
of
They're
course.
scared. Well, guess what? They're already being coached what to say. They have been coached what to say. When the police is there, when the worker is there, they already been told. Believe me, I know that for sure. 100%. When the children are in the abuser's home, they're being coached.
Oh, absolutely.
Your children, when they get age enough, like old enough, I'm sorry, if when they get older, they're going to tell you all this. I have spoken to children who are now 14 and 12, and they said, you know what? When we were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old,
Mhm.
we were told what to say. We were told mommy is bad. We were told to say this about mom. We were told to do this or whatever. Now, when they got older, is do this, right? Or you're not going to get an iPhone. Do this, say this about your mom. Else, otherwise, I will take the cell phone from you. And what do teenagers want the most? Is cell phones,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
And then they apologize to the mom. Mom, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Please tell my mom I'm sorry. They would actually tell that. Please tell my mom I'm
Oh,
sorry. And they
yeah.
start lying about the mom. So the judges hear it and they think, oh, well, why are they saying they're sorry? Oh, the mom must be abusing them. But how is the mom abusing them, you idiots, if the mother only see them 2 hours a week? You stupid pieces of shit. How? If they have no logic. No
Mhm.
logic. When the child says, "Tell mom I'm sorry," and then the child start lying, is because the child is feeling guilty
Of
that she's
course.
lying against the mom, while because she wants a cell phone, she wants to be like her
Mm,
friends, she
of
wants to
course.
belong. So they're caught. You do this, or otherwise you're not going to get this. It's like they reward them.
Yeah, I think by the grace of God, my children have not so far Well, other than on the videos I was talking about where dad was forcing them to say certain things, but as far as like actually going to CPS or anything like that, they have never said any. They have not. My children haven't made up lies about me. Now CPS has written lies, things that my children have said. For instance, like it's just crazy. In the very beginning, when they took them, they said that my son supposedly said that my mom hit me in the head with a bat and that we hit each other when we get into arguments, but he couldn't really elaborate anything. And that actually I know came from dad because he has said it to me before. Just really weird stuff. But I'm like, we're not like that's, I would never dream of hitting my mom or her hit me in the head with a bat. I mean, you know,
It's
just
all
weird
lies.
stuff like that. That
It's
CPS made
lies.
up, that my son
Yeah.
said.
CPS makes all that up. There's CPS goes to children and tell them to what? Not to trust their mom. They would cancel visitation and say, "Oh, your mom canceled." And they literally, even the abuser dad would tell the child, "Your mom doesn't want you." The abuser, what do you call them? The dad's wife or the new woman, whatever. She would tell the kids, "Oh, if
Yeah,
you wants you, why doesn't she fight for you?" And the mother's fighting all along. Like, what are you telling them? What are
yeah,
you right? But they're already putting a dam between the mother and the children for their own reasons, right? They have motives behind every action. Their motive is what?
yeah,
To destroy the mother. Why? Why do you want to destroy the mom so
right,
badly? Why do you want to make up allegations on the mom that's not even true? Usually, a lot of ex
right,
mother-in-laws hate their whoever is with their sons. A lot of them, right? And they will literally slam them with allegation. Why? Because they're helping their son not pay child support because that's their baby. That's their baby. You
yeah,
know, sometimes when I hear mother-in-law talk shit about their daughter-in-law, I'm like, why? Why? If it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be a grandmother.
right, yeah,
So if you talk shit
yeah,
about your ex-daughter-in-law, then you're talking shit about your grandchild.
yeah, sure.
So how
Now I
can
don't
you
know
be a
about their
mother?
step.
Yeah, yeah. How can
Well,
you be
just as
loving if
far
you're
as
talking shit about her?
what's that?
I said, how can a mother-in-law or an ex or grandma, paternal grandma,
Right.
be loving if they're talking crap about the woman that gave birth to your grandchild? To me,
Yeah.
people are stupid on so many different levels. If we just get along, you don't have to love her, right? If you're gonna baby
Right.
your son, right? Because a lot of mother-in-laws, they want their son to marry a specific type of woman, right? Maybe that mother-in-law's an attorney. She wants her son to be with another attorney, right? She wants her son to be with a judge. Why? Because her son is always doing some stupid shit. She wants somebody to protect him. Because those are the type of moms that like enables their kids to do wrong and protects them. So that's not really a real man,
Right.
right? And to begin with, because he's a mama's boy. And when I say mama's boy, not that they love their mom, a mama's boy as the way the mom is enabling the child, the man, like he's a little kid, and then she retaliates against the mother of you know of the children because she's not good enough for them. But who suffers in the middle? The children.
Right.
And then a lot of mother-in-laws, what I've noticed,
Yes.
they report
Absolutely.
to CPS. You understand? They report the mother to CPS. And CPS will always take the children from the mom. Always. Always.
It's crazy.
And that's how it works. And I've had so many mother-in-laws that usually talk to me. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure that the mother is that bad, really? Are you sure? Or is that just a notion in your head? Are you really
Right.
sure? Or is that's like just you're so paranoid and you want to make your son look great, and then you make up all these stories about the daughter-in-law
Right.
because she's not good enough for your
Yeah.
son.
Excuse me.
Am I
Yeah, I
right?
don't
You
know about.
understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know if his mom. I'm sure she probably, like, I'm not around them anymore, so I don't know. But I do know that there was a history of sexual abuse on her side from her father. And so, you know, I wrote a letter to the judge begging him to stop this cycle. Like, please, this is what I'm trying to do. These things, unfortunately, I brought somebody into my family and my life that we've never had these types of issues. And now all of a sudden, and it's very heartbreaking. I actually have videos of my children. When you hear your kids singing and dancing or whatever, you grab the phone and you're like, oh my God, what a cute moment, and you capture it. I have
Right.
a video of my children in the living room playing with their little toy, like musical stuff, and they're singing. This is just months before CPS came to remove them. And they're singing, "We are happy." And I mean, so yeah, it's things like that. This is months before. I have it pinned on my Facebook page, actually. To now, to 2 years later, a year after living with dad, they're sad and want to die. So my
Oh
daughter
my.
right now, she's always, I tell her God is good all the time, and she goes, nope, everything is always bad. That's what she says. And she's told me that she feels like she's stupid, she's ugly, she's not good enough anymore.
Yep.
I write this all down during my videos, you know.
You know what's so sad? There's a lot of dads actually, and there's one in particular, um, the firefighter I was telling you about, that tells his one of his daughters that she's fat,
Mm,
and she's very like she's very sensitive about her looks because her dad
right.
keeps telling her she's fat. So
Absolutely.
she's fat in your custody. Why? Why you say she's fat in your custody? So what are you not doing to protect her? What are you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yep.
why do you do that to your own child? Because a narcissist would do that. But they do it so cleverly. Like they do it undercover where you know what I mean? They're so clever how they handle mind games.
Oh,
And
yes.
see, do you understand what I'm saying? They're very clever. And but to me, you tell a child they're fat while they're in your custody because you're feeding them cup of noodle soups and pizza.
Yeah.
What the hell do you think? And usually children, when they missing their moms, they tend to put their force into food. Their
Yeah, my
comfort is
son.
food. Yeah, they eat a lot because they miss
Hmm.
their mom, and in order for them to feel comfort, they feed themselves. So what are
Yes.
you giving them to feed themselves? Pizza and cup of noodle soup? Are you kidding me? And then you tell your child she's fat? It's to me is sad. So whatever your children are facing, Ginny, it's all manipulation and mind games from the other party. Period. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Who
I
is he?
He's told my children things like I threw away all their toys. Like in the beginning, I threw away all their toys. I took pictures. I still have my room. Is there, like, it's still, I have toys. I still have. It looks like a little kid's room. Just for when
Right.
they come to visit, so they can see this is still your home. Your things are here. You will always have a place where mom is at. You know. So
This is
yeah.
good morning, sweetheart. Um so what we face as mothers, honestly, um it's we face trauma, we face abuse, we face neglect, and our children the same way. But this is all happening from the government because the government allows this shit to happen.
Oh
People
yeah.
think that government is there to protect the people. They're not there to protect the people. They're there to hinder the people and to make money off of the poor.
That's crazy.
That's all it is. Because the rich survives, right? The rich who can afford an attorney, the best of the best, they get their kids back, or their kids is not removed to begin
Yep.
with. But the poor minority who collect food stamp cash aid on Medi-Cal or what have you, or on Section 8, they're the ones who get targeted the most. And the government is behind this because, like every mom who is on food stamps, she has a
Oh,
number.
absolutely.
She's a target. They know how many kids she has. They know where she lives. They know where her family is. And guess what? Social workers, if you really don't believe me, ask about it, inquire about it. Most of the social workers are the ones making the 800 calls. Most of
Oh,
the social
wow.
workers,
Wow.
they're the ones making an anonymous call. If they tell you they cannot disclose who made the call, right? Or they tell you it's an anonymous call, but what they make you think is that it's coming from your family members. They make you fight with your own
Wow.
family members, but the calls is actually coming from them.
Wow,
So
I didn't
be
know
very
that.
aware. Yeah, be very aware. And also, I want you to be aware of which group you participate in on Facebook. Oftentimes you say, oh, they have a group, we hate CPS group, or CPS are scumbags group, or FCPS group. Be careful, because oftentimes they're social workers and they ask you questions and they want to know who your social worker is, the name of your social worker, because oftentimes they will go and report to that social worker what you're saying.
Oh, wow. Well, I've
So
never
you have to
disclosed
be
any of
very,
that information on any of my groups. So,
yeah,
and
you
like I said,
understand?
I don't,
Be very
yes,
careful.
my
That's all
CPS,
I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah, my CPS, like I said, it's in family court and it's been, when the case first closed and I didn't know how to go about doing anything and you have a year to sue because I have all this paperwork. Well, I just figured, you know what, the family courts will help. They will see the paperwork and they'll change it. They won't ignore what CPS ignored. Well, guess what? I was very naive to the system.
Yeah.
The family courts, I didn't know how much, that they're not going to look at things and they're just going to do whatever is happening right now. Here I am.
Family law, juvenile law, they're all corrupt. All judges are corrupt. When I tell you this, that's my opinion. That's my experience. They're all corrupt. Because honestly, what is the definition of a judge? What the hell is a judge supposed to do? A judge supposed to judge fairly according to the law, right? The judge is supposed
Yep.
to, right, review cases before a hearing. But when a judge doesn't review cases, doesn't seek for evidence, right, and
Right.
just goes by the word of a stupid scumbag like a social worker, right,
Right.
then you have to be a dumb ass judge, right, sitting on a chair wearing a black robe. And honestly, it makes me want to look at them like, what the F are you doing? Like,
Right.
what is wrong with you? A degree, right, doesn't make you who you are. A piece of paper,
Right. No.
if that's what you have going for you, is a piece of paper from school saying you have a degree, that's all you got going for you, then you're the poorest, idiotic person on the face of the earth. Because if that's what defines you, then you're worthless.
Right.
Because what
Yep.
defines a person is their action, is what they really do, right? To help
Yes.
others and to judge fairly. That's what defines you.
Yep.
Just like if you're a millionaire, if your money defines you and how many properties you own defines you, then you literally have nothing.
Yep.
And that's how person, a normal person, has more common sense than a graduate from USC or UCLA or Harvard University. Because that's common sense is not taught in schools. They're not. It's not. So they hire idiotic people to do work to steal children. Are you kidding me right now? A 20-year-old? I can't process that part. I can't process that. Uh, like, look at this one. Laquita, she said, my daughter's temporary caretaker is lying. She is my abuser sister-in-law. See that? My abuser sister-in-law, she is
Mm-hmm.
telling lies to the social workers. Of course
Hmm.
she is. Of
Okay.
course she is. Do you see that? So it's
Yes.
happening everywhere, Jeannie. It's just happening everywhere. They try to break down families all the time. So honestly, like I'm gonna leave you guys with this. You need when your case is open, when your case is open, please understand that when you have a CPS investigation, it's very important for you to get an attorney right away. I'm going to close with this much for you guys to understand. The initial investigation is important to have an attorney. If you wait for the case to be open, CPS will open a case. If you wait for that case to be open, they're
Yeah.
going to complicate everything in your life and they will take your children. And it's a nightmare that doesn't end. So don't think because you're a great parent, you're going to get away with it. You're not.
Nope.
Because the great parents are the ones who are targeted, not the abusers. Okay? Usually the mothers are targeted, not the abusers. So, Jeannie, thank you so much for joining me, baby girl. I will talk to you. I don't know if Grace gave you my direct number, but you can always text me if you want me to call you.
Okay, I certainly will. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, sweetheart. And also, guys, I'm gonna have my show at 1 o'clock. You're more than welcome to join me. And I'm gonna have attorney Jennifer Annie on my show at 1 o'clock. I'm hoping she'll be around. And also the 7 o'clock show with Relatives Fight CPS. Love you guys. I'm praying for you guys, and God bless you all. Bye, Jeannie.
God bless you.
God
Bye.
bless you, baby. Bye bye.